Hey everybody, welcome to the LifeWarrior podcast. Got a special guest on today. This man right here is the one who designed this whole LifeWarrior logo for me, which is really cool. Mario and I kind of connected back through Facebook, and I kind of watched what he did with his businesses. Mario's a triple business owner. He's got apparel, tattoo design, and a tattoo. He's a tattoo, apparel, and what was the other one?
Graphic design.
Graphic design. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the major job.
Yeah.
So, um, so super successful. But I saw what he did with what he was doing on Facebook, and I got my thing going and reached out to him. And Mario, it was that time I realized Mario had a story too, a life warrior story, just like everybody else does. And so I'm excited to have him come on and tell this story because there's men our age, and young people growing up that are going through or have been through the same things Mario's been through, and maybe they need to hear this message. And so, it's really cool because he's the dude that came up with this thing, and I'm super excited to work with him more on the logo stuff because God knows I don't know how to do any of that. I'm not good at that. So, but yeah. So, all right, Mario. Mario's in San Antonio, by the way, and so we grew up in the same town back in the day, and
Yeah.
so, but my experience living in that town was different than Mario's. So, all right, Mario. So here we are now. You're in San Antonio. You're an adult. You're successful, but that's not how it started, and that's not where you started. So tell everybody a little bit about your life warrior story, those things that impacted you as a young man growing up that forced you to make life warrior decisions even at a young age. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, yeah, growing up in our hometown for me was a little different. Basically, well, my dad did well for himself, so we didn't live in a bad part. We
Yeah.
lived in a good neighborhood, in a good area. Uh, Went to great schools,
Yeah.
amazing schools. Um, but along with that, at a very, very young age, I learned what racism was about, which shocked me.
Yeah.
Uh, One, because the kids that I went to school with were great. They were friends. I mean, I
Right.
had no issues with them. Uh, at the time, this actually happened to me in elementary, and at the time, not hanging out with them, doing things, and not really seeing color at all.
Yeah.
It didn't happen to me until, God, probably until like the first or second grade was when I encountered my first racism remark, which wasn't from anyone that I went to school with, but from an adult.
Yeah.
And that shocked me. I had no clue what it was. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know why they were pointing it out to me.
Yeah.
But they made it a point that I was different than their kid. And I remember that day. I remember getting in the car, uh, asking my mom, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or, if we can talk freely, but
Go on, man. Yeah.
the the person pretty much looked at me, pushed me up to the side, and told me that their kid would never play with a stick.
There you go.
And I had no clue what that meant. I
Right.
had no idea what that meant. I remember getting in the car, my mom sitting there, and I just looked at her like, "Mom, what's a spick?" And she flipped out.
Yeah.
She flipped out. She was like,
Yeah.
"What the hell
Thankfully
is
so.
going on here? Who said that? Was it a teacher? Who was an authority? Like, who said that to you?" And I'm like, I freaked out. Like, thought I was in trouble. And I'm like, no, no, no one, no one. It was nobody. I just heard it. Later on, of
Appreciate
course,
it,
I told
man.
her,
And
what
stuff like
happened.
that to me, this is an important point that I think people forget that impactful things stay with you from that young age. And at
Yeah,
that young age, it impacted you and you carried that with you for a long period of time. And so that's again, people don't equate doing life warrior shit with being young, but that's exactly what it is, right? I mean, you had to encounter something that immediately altered the way you felt and thought.
man, it really did, especially at a young age. I just remember thinking from that day on, I felt like I had to be careful
Yeah,
in what I was doing and around people because I didn't know if I was going to set someone off. I didn't know if someone was going to say something to me. Uh, it was it was really weird, kind of at first for me. And then I got to the point where I was like, it's not my friends that are saying this. It's not the people I'm
yeah,
going to school with. I mean, they treat me just like they treat everyone else. We joke around, we play. I'm playing sports with everybody. Like, I'm going to school with everyone. We hang out after school. We're doing things. Um, and but as soon as I encountered someone, it was from some of their family members too. But the older generation.
right,
Uh, and they would say little remarks here and there, and I knew what they were saying. I knew what they were implying,
right,
and it made me feel awkward and weird, and thinking to myself like, "Wow, man, is this going to be my life? I'm going to have to deal with this all the time."
right,
And it it made me realize that at a young age, I'm going to have to work harder for everything that I do
yeah.
because I was being judged.
Did that
Everything.
from that time? So you first grade? Is that what you said? You were first grade?
Yeah, it was the first
So
grade.
did I mean you and I went? We're in, like I said, the same town. Did it affect you for the rest of your time in there?
Yeah, it did. It did. The rest of the time I was in home. Anywhere I went, I would think about it. I was really careful too about the people I hung out with. There was I tried to basically just be friends with everybody. I just
Yeah,
wanted to hang out with everybody, be friends with everybody, be cool with everybody.
I was the
And
same.
I had a lot of friends. I mean, I knew a lot of people growing up. Man, I was hanging out with people from, our school and then the other side of the schools. And man, I had friends everywhere. So I could hang out
Yeah,
anywhere I wanted to go. But I just had to be a little careful. I mean, um, another thing too, dating was a little awkward. Not really awkward, but it was um, all the way up until college. All I dated was white girls, because that's what our town had, you know.
right, right.
And I enjoyed it. I loved it, every bit of it, and had a great time. But it made things a little awkward sometimes when I would meet the dad, or
Yep,
um, I got nervous sometimes, thinking, oh man, like, are they gonna say something because I'm Hispanic, you know?
right.
Uh,
Did
uh,
that ever occur? Did anything ever like that ever happen?
Not really. I mean, there was a couple of times, like in middle school, I had a couple of parents, say things to me and made me feel very uncomfortable, and when that happened, and I just ended it,
Yeah,
Um, in high school, I didn't really try to date specifically anyone. I was just having a great time, having fun. I mean, I did go out here and there with a couple of different, but majority of the girls actually that I dated in high school were like in Sweetwater, Merkel, like outside of our hometown, and uh, that was really cool because again, they were white, but it was kind of a little bit different because they were country girls, so that
small
was
town.
kind of
Yeah,
fun.
small towns are different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was pretty cool. And the dads were cool to me. They kind of took me in. So that was made me kind of realize, okay, like there are some cool people out
Yeah,
there.
not everybody's like that.
Right, right. But yeah, man, growing up though, I just remember thinking, I had to be careful what I said, what I did, what I looked like. You know, unfortunately, I mean, I had to be careful. I didn't want to be too free, but yet free, because I did see the kids that, um, well, like what today, like what you see today, kids being thug and
Oh yeah.
gangster and stuff like that. That wouldn't have flied. That would have been pretty hard, especially for me growing up from our hometown. That would have
Yeah.
been pretty hard,
Yeah.
and I would have been outcasted really quick.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant by being careful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I get it. I was wild, man. I was wild back in the day in high school, and
yeah,
got into trouble with the law a couple times, and spent some time in the juvie thing, and and that was, to me, that same feeling of everybody knew, and so everywhere I went, even though my dad was a coach there in the town, and we'd played baseball, and my brother was there, and he was All-American kid. It's like I could see the looks
hmm
and hear the words. It's like basically, you need to stay away from that kid. He's trouble. And it
right.
was, that feeling of being awkward, having to be awkward around because you knew everybody was thinking something was, yeah, I get it, man.
Yeah, it was definitely different. But it's funny now, man, because like I said, we're older, and I still, every once in a while talk to our friends we grew up with from
Yeah,
back
yeah,
home, and they're still the same. They're still cool. They're still, um, of course, we all grew up and we're all different now. Everything's changed so much for all of us. But it's really nice to see that even though I had a different upbringing in all my friends that I had, uh, it's still nice that we still connected some way, and we still
yeah.
talk and hang out. Not really hang. There are a couple of them from Abilene I still hang out with. So yeah, I see
And
them
that
every once
boy,
in a while.
I tell my kids all the time, when they were going to high school and they had drama going on in high school, and it's something we didn't realize as kids then, but I try to tell them, like, I'm gonna tell you right now, there will be one, maybe two from this high school that you stay in contact with all the time, and that you talk to and that you're close with. Everybody else will fade away, and your friends will come from somewhere else. Your real friends will come from somewhere else.
Right.
And that's hard as a kid. That's a hard thing to understand
It
sometimes.
really is. Yeah.
So there you go. So you made it. You worked your way through high school, dealing with all that. Um, you played sports in high school. I know baseball was a big thing in our
Yeah.
town, and so you experienced that too. Um, did it affect you in any way, shape, or form? And when it came to that,
Yeah, man. Sports was huge in our family. My dad played. He
yeah,
played up in the majors, and so us growing up, that we played sports our whole entire life.
yeah,
I mean, until this day, I still am in sports.
yeah.
It's really weird.
Who'd your dad
Um,
play for?
excuse me, was that?
Who'd your dad play for?
Well, his one of the first teams that he played with was the Dodgers. But it was the Mission Dodgers.
Oh yeah,
Then he played for the Padres, I believe it was, and the
yeah.
Cardinals.
That's awesome, dude.
So yeah,
Baseball rules, man.
yeah, I'm telling you, man, I love it. I love it.
So I told somebody the other day, if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, if you'll quit your job and train a little bit, we'll pay you $1,200 a month, and you'll go ride this shitty bus up and down the coast of California or wherever playing baseball, would you do it?" And I'd be like, "Where's the contract, Holmes? Let's sign
Right?
it up. Let's
Right?
go. I'll take
I'm
my
the same
chances."
way. I would do the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, this like you're saying, sports made a big impact on me. It was one of those things that I had to show. I had to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit tell people, hey, I can do this because um, actually the first impact that I had was um, probably little league. I think I was 12, 13 years old. I don't know, maybe younger. Um, played for. I got drafted actually, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Drafted to a team on the other side of town where I wasn't supposed to be playing for a team called K-Bobs.
Okay, Bob.
And yeah, dude, that team was amazing. I think everybody was handpicked on that little league team.
Yeah. It's kind
And
of the beginning of the hand picking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I got lucky. I was fortunate to be one of those kids. I guess stood out, and they
Yeah.
called my parents and told them, "Hey, we really want your son to come play with us." And that that experience changed my whole entire life positively. Um, we had uniforms for practice. We had uniforms for uh, home games, visit games, you name it. We had it.
Yeah.
Um, and
Made you feel good about yourself. Like this
yeah,
is.
it sure did.
Yeah.
All the hard work, everything that I did felt like it was paying off. And
Yeah.
no one judged me. Like the coaches, everybody was like, we know you could play this position, no matter where we put you, you're our man. And that felt great to have that type of responsibility and show people what I could really do. And we did, man. We went far. God, I remember like winning, state champions and things. We
Yeah.
took that team far, and that was fun. But the one thing I learned a lot, besides everyone being so nice and cool on that team, was every single day before a game, we would visit. We would go to the coach's house, lay in this big room. They would turn off the lights and tell us to visualize our position.
It's funny,
At
man.
at a young age, can you
Yeah,
imagine that? And that
that's
impacted me.
yeah,
Man,
that's a good. That's man. That's a coach thinking at above.
outside the box, because I
Yeah.
still use that method till this day.
Yeah.
I use that every single day. I visualize everything. I speak it. Send that message out to the world. Um,
I'm
I
just now.
still do visualization boards.
I'm just now trying to learn that. The visualization part,
Yeah.
I really didn't dive into that until I was in college, man. When my coach in college played for the Orioles, he came up under Cal Ripken Sr.
Wow.
and greatest hitting coach I ever had in my life, man. And he was actually a B1 instructor at the base, but he played with Eddie Murray and all those dudes in the
Jeez.
Orioles. And
Yeah.
he loved baseball, and he came out and he was our hitting coach at ACU, and he was the first one that was like that. Go home, visualize what pitcher you're facing tomorrow, right hander, left hander, slow mo,
Wow.
ever in the dark, holding your bat, watching, two seams, four seams, splitters, curves, sliders, whatever it is, and visualize it hitting. And man, that year blew up. I think I hit 365 that year. I was all conference, all region, all that.
Oh
That
man.
was the first time that visualization thing hit me. And I'm the same. I, I still do that a lot. But the manifesting part, speaking things,
Right.
that I've just now started diving into. So that's awesome, man. You learned that at a young age. That's cool.
Yeah, I really did. That from that day on, I started looking at life completely different and not in a negative way anymore,
There you
where
go.
it hit me in my earlier childhood.
So that's two life warrior moments in your life at a young age that changed the way you saw life. Period.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Um,
All
the
right.
big,
So go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but one of the biggest, most important, I guess, in my life at that time, this is in high school experience where I had to make a decision. Um, was my my first year at Cooper.
Yeah.
Played on the JV team.
Yeah.
Um, Lead off batter, all that,
Yeah.
played. I loved it, man. I was like, yes, I'm gonna get to play for Cooper.
Yeah.
I remember towards the end of the year, Mr. Pugh, Coach Pugh, came up to me and said, "We want you to play, because continue playing because we're looking at you. We want to put you up on the team.
Yeah.
And he said, but you're going to have to play summer ball.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, oh, man, I had just got a job for summer. At that time, I was trying to do a lot of things on my own. I've always been kind of independent. I tried
Yeah.
not to ask for my parents for stuff a lot.
Right.
I just had that I guess because of the things that I went through as a child, it made me tough.
Right.
So I had that attitude always, like I'm just gonna do it on my own, So deciding to work, I just told him, I said, man, I really would love to, but I have to work this summer. And he said, well, we really would like to have you, but the only way you're going to be able to get on the team or play ball with us again is that you have to play summer ball.
Yeah.
And I remember going home thinking to myself, like, God, what am I going to do? Like, I'm trying to make it on my own, working, try to start, it's high school, you want to have extra money,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
and
Yep. No, that's a tough thing about sports,
yeah,
man. I mean, it's at that age, it's funny. It tells you our age difference because I played with Scotty, in high school, so we were on the same teams. So our age difference. That's our age difference. You're playing
wow,
for him, after the fact. But it is, man. At that time, it's like things started changing. You had to
right,
make a decision of all in or nothing.
right,
And
right.
it wasn't like back in the day where you could play 3, 4 sports and
It
thrive and
wasn't,
be
yeah.
okay. Just things changed, man.
Yeah, it changed dramatically for me because then that's when I decided, okay, well, I'm gonna work, and I guess I'll just continue with my band, playing drums, and
Yeah, there you go.
so that's what I did.
So
But I still played. It was funny because I would take the time to still try to find other things to do sports in, because sport was just a huge impact for me.
yeah,
It made me feel like I could do that.
yeah,
That's something that all of us, like if you don't practice, you don't dedicate yourself to whatever you're trying to learn, position, then that can make a big impact on the team.
right.
And, there's that chain, reaction. And I don't want to be that weak link. So I would, that's just something that I've kind of carried on with my work and everything else.
So you worked, you did your music stuff, and
Yeah.
so now it comes time. I know this is a big impactful moment. You decide school wise, right? You're gonna after high school,
Right.
and if I remember correctly, did you go to Tech? Is
I
that
did
where
go
you
to
went?
Tech. Went
Yeah.
to Texas Tech.
So you did that. You went to school. You got graphic. Is that what you get your degree in graphic design?
Well, there's another little story to that.
Yeah.
Basically, my senior year, uh, I was top of my class in graphic design, basically in art class because I immersed myself in art.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
So, um, first in the class, one of the professors came up to me, design professor, told me, "Hey, we got a company coming in. They want to talk to the top 5 students, and we told them about you. We want you to go interview with this company." And I was like, what do I have to lose? I'm gonna go do it. So I went to go interview with the company, and they hired me right on the spot. Like they said, we want you. We love your work. We love your attitude. Uh, Out of all the portfolios, they thought mine was the strongest at the time. They were just like, man, this is you're you're what we need. You're what we want. What we're looking for. You're gonna
Right.
fit our company great. The problem was though, I was supposed to graduate that summer, and I had 2 classes I had to take. Basic history. I had gone the whole year without taking
Yeah.
basic history. The whole entire year. And I remember them telling me, okay, you can walk with your class, you can graduate with your class, just take summer school and we'll send you your diploma. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Well, when we were supposed to walk, that's when I was going to have to start the job. And I was like, well, forget it. I won't walk. I don't want to walk. Man, that made my parents so upset. I remember they were so upset with that. But at that time, I'm like, man, I want to go work. Like,
Right.
I'm tired of school. Like,
Right. I want to make some money.
yeah. Plus, I
Yeah.
really didn't like school. I hated school, man. The only thing that kept me there was my art. That is the honest truth. Art and sports, man. I was in, you name it, softball, flag football. I was at the gym every day. Like, that was it. Like, I was living it, man. I was having a great time.
Yeah. If it
My
wasn't for
grades.
baseball, I wouldn't have stayed in college either. If it wasn't for baseball, that's the only reason I went.
Yeah, it's
So
and
I
that's
get
those are the things that keep us there. I think
right.
those little things that you find, and so I went to go work for this company, and they were like, "Yeah, man, you can come work for us, and take summer courses online and get your diploma, and we'll let you take off and get your diploma and everything." Well, I didn't do it. I was having too much fun working, learning the business, and man, that really I think hurt my family because at that time I realized like, why do I need a diploma? I'm already working. Like I'm already doing this. I can do this on my own.
Right.
And went to took like 5.5, 6 years of college, doubling major with a minor, all in art. Top of my class in the art, and two classes that I needed, and I just fucking walked. I was like, I'm done with this. I don't need this. I'm gonna be doing art for the rest of my life anyway, and I'm gonna make it some way or another.
So
So
I don't think you're. I think that story probably plays out every year come graduation time in college. I think there's guys like people like us that were like, man, I hate school. I don't
yeah,
need this. I don't want to be here anymore. And once you roll out, man, that's
you're
it.
gone.
Yeah.
That was me. I knew I wasn't gonna take those summer schools. I mean, I already knew it. I mean,
Yeah.
I hated school. I hated
Yeah.
school. Like it just, I think school. I had the ups and downs with school. I had some great experience with school, and I had some really bad experiences.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So it just school for me, and I'm not saying this for everybody, but for me, it just wasn't important.
Yeah.
And I've realized in my life now as an older, you know, person that school's not for everybody. You
Nope.
can you can you can make a life for yourself without a degree,
Yeah.
and
100%.
it
And it's
just
more so now than ever, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's what I told my son. I told my son, if you don't want to go to college, you don't have to go to college. Just make sure you find something that you're passionate about. And
yeah.
he's amazing. He's also an artist, and he's doing it on his own.
Yeah.
He left school at 16. Well, he graduated at 16, homeschooled. Graduated at 16, moved out, and has been on his own ever since.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Your son and mine sound the same. He's living here still, but he's into music and he edits. He's done some video editing for there's this real popular band in France. They found his stuff and he's done
Damn.
their music videos for them. Rap artists here. He's super talented kid and he taught himself. Yeah,
And
man.
that's where it's at, man. Like if you're passionate about it, you can do it. You can
Yeah.
do it, man.
So there you go.
Well,
So you got that. You didn't finish. Got your job. Then what?
I didn't stay very long at my job because at that time I could tell they were really overworking me. I
Yeah.
was staying nights at
Oof.
at my job, deadlines. Um, I mean, they paid me great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I got paid, especially someone out of school. I was banking. I couldn't believe the type of money I was making. But I just felt overworked. I mean, I was staying the nights there. I didn't have a social life,
Yeah.
nothing. And I just made a decision on my own that, you know what, I'm going to do this on my own. And kind of took off. But the problem I didn't think about at the time was I still had school loans. I still had rent. I had to eat. I had, you name it. I got bills. And
Life warrior stuff.
yeah, and left. Told myself okay, I'm all in. I'm gonna do this on my own, and I did. I hit that journey down the road to be self-employed, and it was rough, man. I'm gonna tell you, this is probably the roughest part of my life that changed every bit, everything about me. You know, you know, basically, I went homeless. I went homeless for 2 years, probably a little longer than 2 years. But you know, I moved to Kerrville. I had tried to make some stuff out there because I had some work out there. Then from Kerrville, went to San Antonio for a little bit, and then from San Antonio went to Austin. But I was just living, you know, in my car. Um, I had some friends that I met along the way, and they would let me stay in an extra bedroom, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to be that person and overstay my welcome. So I would stay there for maybe a week, 2 week, and then I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna take off and look for a little corner. Walmart, actually, Walmart was a great place to park the car and just sleep. It was a scary, scary time of my
Yeah, dude,
life.
that's man, that's next level life warrior stuff.
It was. But you know what was funny is that I was just a stubborn person because I wanted to, like, again, I wanted to do it on my own. I wanted to prove people that I could do it on my own. And I could have called my parents. You know, I could have called them and told them, and you know, uh, they would uh,
Right.
they would have done anything and everything for me to help me out. But I didn't want to go that route. I didn't want to do that because I didn't really talk to my parents that much because I would just tell them, you know, uh, no, I'm doing great. I'm doing fine. You know, like I'm not very much of a. I'm not a hugger. I'm not a. You know, like, oh, I gotta talk to my parents every single day.
Yeah.
I think I talk to my parents maybe once every 5 months. You know, I don't know, and it's not that I don't love them. I love my parents. I mean,
Yeah.
they're freaking amazing, amazing
Yeah.
people. You know, but I'm not that type of person. You know, just and I think a lot of that had to come with the shit I went through growing up as a kid. You know, I was dealing that on my own. I was dealing with that, and it made me kind of cold. That's the one thing I noticed as I got older. I got really cold, and I didn't want to be. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be a cold person, but it made me cold
Yeah. That's
accidentally.
being cold is a lonely life.
Yeah, and but man, the streets,
Right.
dude. I'm telling you. There was one experience I remember, you know, sleeping in the car and someone banging on the car, and I going like, "What the hell's happening?" and get pulled out and get jumped by three people for no reason. Just got
Man.
jumped, got beat up. You know, I didn't have anything.
Right.
You know, I'm living in a car. Come on, like, what am I gonna have? You know,
Yeah.
I didn't have anything. They looked, didn't find anything. I mean, thank God I hid my wallet. You know, I used to hide it in this little opening in my car seat that was underneath the seat. So the only way you're gonna find it is if you tear it up.
Right.
You know, so
Mm.
it was that was one experience that really made me think like I gotta get off the streets.
Yeah.
Like I was banged up pretty bad. In fact,
So what was
there's
the
a part of it that I don't like to talk about too much. It's pretty. I've actually kind of forgotten about it or tried to, but it's um, they dragged me. They dragged me off to a I guess it was like a freezer or something, and threw me in there to lock it. And I was locked in there for a while. And the next morning, someone popped it
wow.
open, and there I was.
Wow,
So
man.
yeah, that was. I don't like talking
Were
about
these
that.
like grown up like young guys
It was a
or
grown up. It was a grown up person. They were well. I mean, I was in my 20s. I think I was like 25. Yeah, about 25, 26, something like
yeah.
that, when I got jumped. So they were probably right. I think they were older, man. I think they were in their 30s. I mean, you could smell the alcohol on them. They
Right.
were. drugged up, alcohol. They were just looking for someone
No,
to beat
like
up.
that was a death sentence that somebody saved you from.
Yeah, yeah, it really was. I think, man, I don't know. Like it was, I can still see it. Like it was a pretty scary time in my life, and I
Yeah,
remember thinking to myself, like what the fuck,
yeah.
like
Man, being locked in a freezer and not knowing where you are, it's like,
yeah,
and who's
it
gonna
was.
come? Man,
It
that's
was
insane.
crazy. I mean, I was knocked out. I mean, they beat me up good. I mean, I was out of it, and then being in this little box, thinking like, what or like it wasn't too small. It was, it was kind of
Right.
it was a little big, but it was just like what the fuck? Like, what am I doing? Like, what's going on here? And then banging, and then the door opening, and there's a guy there, and he's like, "Dude, are you okay?" And I'm like, "No," like,
No. Yeah.
like it's
So did at that moment. So man, that's big, right? And that is a so you've had numerous these life warrior moments that altered the course of your life, and so in that sense, so you said that was one of the moments. At what point did you finally go, all right, that's it, enough's enough? And what did you do? What life warrior decision did you make to finally go, this not working? I got to do
well, there
something.
was there was a lot going on during that time. A lot. Like I was I, I don't know much about anxiety. I don't know much about talking. Like this is the first time I'm talking to anyone. I've never talked to a therapist. I don't talk to
Yeah,
therapists. I don't know
yeah,
that lifestyle.
right.
Um, so this is the first time I'm ever talking about it. Like openly.
I
Um,
appreciate you. I appreciate you doing that. Well,
but
I had to go through it, the whole therapy thing. I didn't believe in it either, and it took me 7, 8 years to finally go, all right, man, like I ain't fixing this myself. And so, and it took me, I think I went through 5 different therapists before I finally found one that just acted like a regular dude.
yeah.
And it was like, all right, I can do this. And it helped me. But at the same time, I was that way too. Like, I don't need to talk to nobody. I don't
Yeah,
have,
I think that's just how, our generation growing up, that's how
yeah,
it is, like just, sweep it under the rug and it's okay.
right,
But I think I'm feeling the same way you are. Like I haven't found anyone, I haven't looked. I honestly, to be truthful, I
right.
haven't looked, but everyone that I've talked to that does talk to someone, I'm like, I don't want, yeah, I don't like, I
And,
don't have that
well, maybe this is
soft feeling.
a groundbreaker
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
I mean,
Hopefully it is. But
well,
yeah, I think it is. I know a lot of people in my life right now that are really close to me are really happy that I'm doing this. I mean, they're extremely happy because they could see that things have been impacted in my life. Because there's some things that I do that I don't do purposely. I really don't.
yeah.
And they're like, dude, like, what's going on here? And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that. It's just, you know, and it affects families, it affects the people around you that you care about. And
Yep, 100%.
I don't want to be that person. I didn't grow up to be like that. I remember my parents were great parents.
Yeah.
They impacted my life a lot, but these other things that have happened to me really changed.
But in a sense, when it comes to that, even though I didn't go through that experience, in a sense, those bad things like that, because you haven't really, it's the first time you're letting it out there. To me, it's almost like those 3 dudes that jumped you still got control.
Yeah,
They still got some power over you that and and so I understand. I felt that same way about all my stuff. I'm like, I finally had to go, man, I'm tired of being controlled by
hmm
something. I'm tired of having.
Yeah.
having it affect my entire existence. Because I was the same. I was bitter. I was, I'm short tempered,
Hmm.
um, the whole 9 yards. And so it was like it finally hit you. Like, man,
Yeah, it
they
hit me
still
hard.
they
It was
still
one of those
got me.
things. It was one of those things where I was like, it was up and down. Like I thought about killing myself.
Yep.
I thought about, man, should I just end it? I mean, like,
In
shit's
there.
not going for me anyway,
Right.
you know? But then I would think about, all the things, the important things. I mean, I had some really great teachers too, and that I didn't talk about in elementary that
Yeah.
really pushed my art. And I would think about them, and then I thought about my coach for K-Bobs, and how he impacted me, um, and thinking about, man, there I can get out of this. I know I can get out of this, and
Yeah.
I did. I stuck through it. I stuck through my goal where I was going to make it as an artist on my own and do it, and I did. Like
Yeah.
I think it was around the end of 96, 97. I was finally able to open up my graphic design firm. Had some clients. I was making a big impact. The funny thing about it, though, is that all the money that I was making was going straight into the business. While I was still opening up, I had this business. I was still homeless. I didn't have a place. I was still
Wow.
living in my car. I would go to the gym to shower, to get ready, to go to work in an office that I was paying for
Wow.
to have this business going.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, those are. It's like, talk about doing life warrior shit. That's next level life warrior shit. Like those are life warrior decisions you're making. Like home or office or business I gotta pay for. It's like,
yeah, and that's
you
what I
know,
decided. I decided that my work was, if I was going to make this work, I was going to either sleep at the office,
yeah,
which I really couldn't because there was other offices there. So um, the owner had an office there too, so he would be there late nights, and so he would have said something to me. He would have been knocking on that door. Hey, man, you can't be sleeping in here.
right.
So I would leave. I would have a lot of late nights there working because I was trying to get these projects out, and I was trying to make a name for myself and do it. And man, it took 1 year. It took 1 year, and man, I remember the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in San Antonio contacted me and told me that I was voted Business Owner of the Year for the impact that did in
Wow.
San Antonio. And man, that was incredible, man. I remember my name was all over the newspapers, and I had people calling me, companies calling me. It just changed my whole entire life. And
Homeless to businessman of the year.
yeah,
Man, yeah.
and
There you go,
that's
man.
what I try to tell people. Like, man, if you believe in yourself and if you really dedicate yourself to whatever you want to do, it's gonna happen. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's gonna happen. But
Yeah.
you got to just keep believing in yourself, and doing it.
And I think that's like the message of, like you're talking about, manifesting. You put it out there,
Yeah,
but you'd been putting it out there for years,
yeah,
and
yes,
it took that long for it to finally, like, okay, universe going, all right, I hear you. Here,
yeah, dude. I mean, even during college, I kept thinking about it. Like, I'm gonna do this. So all my years in college, all those years I was out of school
yeah,
until I actually did it. It doesn't come fast, man. And you
yeah,
don't want it to come fast. You want to earn it, because you want it to last.
yeah.
You know.
I'm with you.
And
So right, so now you got that happened. Now you got apparel, which is really cool. Looking
right,
at your stuff, you post all the time.
right.
The tattoos, of course, you and I've talked. I got a whole plethora of tattoos. I gotta knock out. I've got some I've been waiting on for years, and
Nice.
so yeah, we need to work that out.
For sure.
Uh, so man, so now you're killing it. And the weightlifting thing. You and I both love weightlifting. We do it all the time.
Yeah, yeah, love it.
And to me, it's people ask me all the time, "Hey man, you're 54. You've had two back surgeries. You've got nerve damage in your leg. You've got all this. Why do
Right.
you still do it to yourself?" And I'm like, you know, you don't understand it.
Right.
You don't understand what it does for me sanity wise.
Exactly.
And, you know, it was so many times, and I'm sure it's the same for you, so many years that was the only thing that I think saved me. It's,
Well, I know that that's the only thing that saved me. I mean, because even during, like I told you, taking a shower when I was homeless at the gym was my life. I would go there and work out just to decompress,
yeah,
not think about anything. Because when you're lifting weights, you don't want that to fall on you. So you're not
no.
going to think about anything else but, trying to get your workout in.
Yeah, it's like I tell people all the time, like, it honestly is the only place I feel normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the only place where everything disappears and I feel like a normal human being.
Yes,
For
I agree 100%.
yeah. So, man, that's awesome. What records do you have right now?
Well, right now, I have 3 world titles.
Yeah.
I have 3 world records, but they're in 2 different classes. I have a one in the 75 kilo class, and 2 of them in the 82.5 kilo class. And then I have, I believe it's 13 Texas state records,
Yeah. So, man, that's awesome. And
and
so,
those are in 3
again,
different classes. Yeah.
yeah, so you're looking at all your businesses, and that takes time. I
Yes.
mean, you know, people who don't lift don't understand, but that is nutrition. That is, I mean, cooking your food and going to the gym and spending away from work. I mean, that takes time, man.
It's my life. Like,
Yeah,
it's just like my business is my everyday routine life. Gym is my everyday routine of life too.
yeah. Mine too.
There's a set time that I go to the gym. I'm usually there between, I want to say, like maybe like 2, maybe depending if I'm training for something, but I'll be there for 2 to 3 hours, three
Yeah,
hours max.
yeah,
Try not to be there too long because I still have to recover, and
yeah.
I
Yeah.
still have
It
to come
doesn't, the
home.
older you get, it don't get no easier.
Right. No,
So,
it hurts, man. The older you get, the longer it takes to recover.
so man, all right. So we need to do another one of these. I got some other stuff. I think we'll talk off, but
Okay.
um, that I think would be another great podcast to do when it comes to all that. I mean, how fitness affected your life and all that. I got, and so I ask everybody this. We'll end with this, and then we'll figure out. We'll do another one here. But I always end with this, right? You gave me um, numerous points in your life that were what I call life warrior moments that affected the way you saw life and did life, and some of them super impactful. Um, and it's made you now. This is the Mario. This is who you are now because of all of that. And at numerous times during your life, you could have just said, "Fuck it, I'm out. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm done. I can't do this another day. I've had enough. I can't do it." So to people, men, boys, women, girls that are out there right now who are, different stages like you were in your life, listening to your story, what life warrior advice, and you've talked about this already a little bit, I think I know what you're going to say, but what life warrior advice would you give them, those kids or people who are in those spots you were in right now?
I guess there would be probably maybe 2 important things for me. One is you have to believe in yourself. Definitely have to believe in yourself. Manifest it in your mind, and see it. and believe that you can get there. And the second, and this comes from my early age of being impacted, prove all those people wrong. Prove them wrong. Show them that you can do it and that you're just as equal as they are.
I'm with you,
And
man.
prove them.
Yeah, that hits home for me. It's like, I grew up and I was, how it was in Abilene baseball wise, and
Hmm.
man, at that time when I was through, we were legit, man. I mean, we were co-national champs and then back-to-back state champs, and we had all these Division One guys on there, and I didn't really get my opportunity to show my wares, and I had to go the hard route through junior college and work my ass off through there, and every bit of it was that alone was, whether you call it ego or whatever,
Right.
it's, I will never let anyone dictate or determine my future in baseball, whatever it was.
Right.
And just because you act like I can't, sit back and watch what happens.
Exactly.
And so, some people might say, you can't be bitter and look at it from anger perspective but for me, that's what got me through. Was I heard somebody say, well, anger and stuff is not the answer all the time. My opinion is bullshit. Sometimes anger is the answer.
I
And,
believe 100%. Yeah,
and,
I agree with you.
it drives you. That anger sometimes drives you to another level where now we're in different parts of our life where we go, all right, I don't need that anger no more.
Right.
You
Right.
know, but anger is what drove me for years, and I'm sure yours too. You know,
It definitely did. I mean, I
yeah,
was angry at a lot of people for telling
yeah.
me that I couldn't do something. I just wanted to prove them wrong.
There you go.
You know.
I like it, man. So, Mario, man, I appreciate you coming on, brother, and it's humbling and honored that you came on here and told me and everybody that's going to listen something you hadn't told before. And
All right.
so, man, that kind of stuff to me is big to me. Brotherhood is huge to me.
Oh
It
yes.
means absolutely everything to me. And so, and there's a lot of people out there that don't know what that word means. They
Exactly.
think they do, but they don't. And so it's humbling, and it, man, seriously, an honor that you would tell us that here. And because I feel like it's going to be something that there's somebody out there that's going to hear it
I think
and
it will. I
be,
think it's gonna help a lot, and I really appreciate you asking me. To tell my story.
oh
You know.
man, uh, when you told me some of the stuff, just a minimal, I was like, I knew, I was like, he told me a minimal. I know there's more. When somebody says they're homeless for 2.5 years, I was like, there's something
Yeah.
else in there that I got to know. So, and I appreciate it, brother. And
Yeah. No worries.
I'll this thing will be out, y'all. It'll process tonight, and we will put this thing out. So, man, another Life Warrior podcast in the books. Great story, and I'm looking forward to working with you some more, my brother.
Sounds great, man. Sounds great. I'm looking
Thanks
forward
for
to
coming
it.
on. Hey, one last thing. I've learned about this Riverside, this thing that we do here. So when I shut it down, uh, you have to stay on.
Okay.
Keep the app on, and it'll process on your end too. So the audio and everything will go, and until
Okay.
it uploads. So just giving you a heads up.
All right. So just keep it on then.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, brother. Appreciate
All
it,
right.
and I'll give you a shout.
Sounds great, brother.
All
Awesome,
right,
man.
y'all.
See ya.